All right. Hey, y'all. Welcome back.
Hi.
Long time no see. We're embarrassed because we have been gone for...
Like 6 weeks.
I was going to say 2 months, but yeah, 6 weeks sounds about right.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Life happened.
Yeah, life literally happened. I think a few days after our last recording, our cousin passed away very suddenly, and we were not functioning properly. I wasn't.
Before that happened, well, when we first started doing podcasts, we said that we were going to batch content. We were going to have a bunch of episodes because literally I took like a little, remember that mini class I took? I took like a little free like mini class on it. And that was like her number one suggestion. She was like, make sure that you batch content because you never know, life happens. And you need to make sure that you have your episodes.
We were doing okay.
Out.
We were doing okay for a while.
We were, but we did not have any episodes to get out.
Well,
so needless to say, here we are 6 weeks later.
6 weeks later. I think part of that was because we didn't make time to like record and stuff because we had content. We just didn't record it. But just stuff was happening. We were still, so our cousin passed away suddenly, like right after the James Gang Giants episode. Mom things were still a thing that were happening. That was happening. And we've been working nonstop. I don't know. I mean, I've been kind of busy myself.
Overworked and underpaid. But it's testing season at my job, so I'm the testing coordinator, fortunately.
And it's COVID season at everybody's job. And I am the COVID tester.
So yeah, we've been in go mode for quite some time. We're always like, oh my God, it's Thursday. And we don't have an episode to put out.
Literally 6 times. 6 times.
So
I was like, why are we like this? Are we still doing this?
It's terrible. And shout out to Creators Are Essential. I remember they had an episode about when you're getting to that point of like not being consistent, like how you have to just keep going.
Yeah, it was really tough to build our momentum back to even just do this. You see, I attempted to even just try to do my hair.
I did.
You see how that turned out.
It's cute. It's like a little cotton ball.
I feel like I'm your dream girl.
Yeah.
I'll make you happy. Anyway. Y'all know y'all missed us. Come on.
At least 2 people did.
Yeah, I can confirm 2 people. I can confirm. I don't know about the other person actually, but one person for sure has been like, where y'all at? Like,
it's like, yeah, I've been waiting.
I'm like, should we call this season 3? Because like we are on the struggle list. Anyways,
we're back.
So we felt like it was appropriate to actually call this episode, or not call this episode, but to center this episode around burnout. Because there was actually a point in time where I know she was overwhelmed, I was overwhelmed, and on top of that, we were overwhelming ourselves like we have just such pressure to do this, but overwhelming ourselves with this also. We're like, oh my God, and we didn't even record again for the 6th time. And you know what? we just felt like it was appropriate because it needs to be talked about amongst ourselves and amongst everybody else, because everybody's burnt out. Everybody's freaking burnt out.
I feel like this is a season of blah. So
blah is a really good description. So obviously, every time we have any kind of discussion about any specific word or any specific, like, what is that called? Like a phrase or something like that. We define it based on, Urban Dictionary or Webster or whatever the case is, just to kind of, so that we're all on the same page with what it actually means, because we might all have different ideas. But I got this off of Google. So burnout is overworking to the point of exhaustion. It's a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. That's what exactly I thought it was, but they put it in a pretty box. And it occurs when you feel overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and unable to meet constant demands. So there's like no breaks.
Right.
No breaks. And it's most often related to work stress and job stress. And I don't think I realized that until we were doing this. I was like, you know what, it is, because like most people that get burnt out are burnt out from work.
Mm-hmm. But this is the first year that we're going through COVID, and it did say that it doesn't have to necessarily be from work stress. It could be when you're just feeling overwhelmed or emotionally drained, which a lot of people are, particularly during this phase of
transition.
Oh my gosh, the change.
Yeah, and you know what? I could see, I mean, I can't relate, but I can see people being burnt out from parenting. Because homeschooling, just being a mom in general. Our cousin, whose husband was the one that passed away, I talked to her the other day, and she was just like, I'm so tired. She has a 3-month-old baby, and how old is Trip? 5? I always say a number underneath. And a 5-year-old, and she's like, I'm just so exhausted all the time, especially being that her husband passed, so she's not getting the help that she used to get. Middle of the night feedings and changings and stuff like that. And so she's just like, I'm just burnt out because it never stops. It's just go, 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 go. And I mean, thankfully we have a tight-knit family, so they help her and they jump in. But I can definitely see how parenting, especially, you know,
parenting is a full-time job.
Grieving, going through a pandemic, you know, like there's so many, it's just a snowball.
Yeah.
And everybody's got their own situation. I mean, that's kind of like a horrible one. But there's other subsections of burnout as well. So some of the triggers, and this is mostly because it's what we can relate to. It's mostly geared toward work burnout. But I also looked up some triggers as far as like, how do you know if you're becoming burnt out? Unreasonable time pressure at work. They're giving you deadlines. They're throwing all the stuff at you. Oh my gosh, I can relate to that. They threw close to 2,000 samples at us in a short time frame, and we had to run them a specific way. And the way that we were running them only allowed 44 at a time. And I'm like, this turnaround time ain't gonna work. And it was for a very special client.
How many total did you have to do?
We were supposed to get 1,850. I don't know how many. And they were like, you have 2 days to turn them around. No, we don't, because we do 44 at a time, and it takes like an hour and change per 44. So no, we not. Like, and this is with 2.5 shifts. Anyway, it was just completely unreasonable. We're wildly understaffed because Florida has ridiculous licensing requirements, and they will not allow people to touch samples unless you are licensed in Florida, which would be okay if everybody in the country had to have the same requirements, but they don't. Florida's one of like 5.
And we don't wear masks no more down here. So.
And these people, I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying this, but this particular client was exclusive to cruise ships. So these people were literally at sea until we can get them these results. And I felt terrible because I'm like, this has nothing to do with the personnel, but y'all just putting all this pressure on us. And I had a full-blown meltdown. We also had a reconstruction of our management at that time, reconstruction of our entire laboratory. We had inspections happening at the same exact time. And there was only 2 of us running these samples, and I was about to pull this little fro out my head. So unreasonable time constraints, I relate, like.
Mine probably came from, all year. I have time restraints throughout the whole year, which are fine, but this year was just a new way of doing things for schools, and we're still testing. So, yeah, so I had to pretty much test all of our students. I mean, not me personally, but schedule it and plan it for all of our students within, where we have a month. I mean, we test every day in May. So, and then we have like a week left of school in this summertime. So testing, and then the students that are absent, you know, you got to do the makeup test. It's just a lot, you know, and I'm one of 1 at my school. So
I'm one of 2.
Yeah.
We're important.
I do get a little help, but it's still too much.
It's a lot. Another one is lack of communication and support from manager.
Mm-hmm.
I always have a story for every single thing, but I'm just going to water it down for this and say this. Let's just say that my manager got the axe during inspections because he was straight up trash. And they finally pointed it out, the, state inspectors. Yeah. So that's why I say management got reconstructed, because and me and him didn't get along, and it just was a mess. And I don't know, karma's just a funny thing. It's a heck of
my management is okay. I don't really have he doesn't.
But do you feel
it's
supported?
A man, verbally.
That don't count.
I think he's used to us doing everything.
Yeah, so a man. I mean, now I have my supervisor now is, I love him. He actually was my work husband.
She actually goes to work on Saturdays for him.
Because I never want to leave him in a bad position. And you know what? That's what good management does. And he fights for his people. And he was just one person that was working alongside us. And he got promoted because he knew what he was talking about. And I'm glad. So my work husband is now my boss. Whatever. So I work for a very interesting company. Anyway, lack of role clarity. I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. Oh, no. Go ahead.
What you're supposed to do or what you do?
I know what I'm supposed to do.
There's so many like moments where you can have that's not in my job description.
Oh my gosh.
Conversation. And I do very often, actually. I'm like, I don't do that. You need to talk to so-and-so.
Mm-hmm. Or my favorite. That's above my pay grade, but okay.
Yeah, above my pay grade. Mm-hmm.
That's a management issue.
Is this counseling or is this behavior? Is this like a discipline issue or a, therapeutic issue? We need to decipher the difference because I do counseling.
And I run samples. Stop coming to me to solve problems. Stop coming to me to freaking do whatever it is that everybody, I feel like I have like 4 hats. It's calming down now that management is changing, but my previous manager expected me to have 8 hands. And I literally got into it with him one time and told him I'm not an octopus. So,
but I think the problem is because we are hard workers, like we make their job easy. I can probably do, at the expense of my own stress and my own mental health, I can do the job. You know what I'm saying? Like I can take on, like if you ask me an extra, like in the middle of testing season, he asked me to make a flyer, my boss. And I was like, a flyer? Like I have so much to do. Like, I don't have time to go on Canva right now. But I found a template and I threw it. So,
It's like you could have did that though.
Anybody could have done
you
that.
got more time. I'm not saying you. I'm saying him. You got more time.
He probably would have no idea how to do that. But any other person.
You know how much stuff they throw at us that we don't know how to do, but we figure it out because guess what? They throw it at us because we don't know how to do it, or they don't know how to do it. So they're like, hey, can you handle this and figure it out?
Because they know we can do everything.
Yeah, and then I'm sitting here like, I don't have time.
We should not be doing everything.
My favorite thing now is I'm one of 2 people. We used to have a larger team. I'm one now of 2 people, and they're still throwing things at me that does not involve running samples. I'm like, I legitimately, like, I can't even say this anymore literally. I don't have time to do anything besides run these samples. What do you want me to do? You want me to run these samples, or you want me to do all this other stuff?
My issue is I do things that are not really counseling related, like testing, for instance. Like that takes up so much time because I don't even know how to explain how much time it takes up because I get, 3 grade levels test. I have to sticker the books with every student's name, like every single book. And that's not just like a reading test. That's reading and math for 3rd and 4th and 5th grade. And then it's like science for 5th grade and writing for 4th and 5th grade. Like imagine how many stickers. I have to sticker the books. Like I'm so
licking
over
smearing.
These test books and boxes. Like, so as soon as I box them up and I ship them out, I even told my coworker the other day, because we're supposed to count the books, make sure we have the exact amount. I was like, look, it's in God's hands at this point. I'm not counting books. Now. I'm not counting. It's above me. I'm not counting anymore. I'm just shipping them out.
It's such a mess.
It's a lot. It is.
I hate like disorganization. I feel like my company's getting it together a little bit better now that we have different management in place, and he doesn't come to me and expect me to just do random stuff. Like, he makes sense.
Because he knows what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah.
Yes. And because he was one of
because
me,
he did
and
the job
on the floor. Yeah. So I mean, it's getting better. I can see it improving, but my goodness, it was rough. The time during those 6 weeks that we disappeared, I still had different management. So I was still like,
and I would much rather do the things I'm supposed to be doing. Like, people ask me to see students because of, like, you know, family concerns or whatever. And I'm like, I have to sticker test books. Like, I can't, I literally can't. Like, by the time my day, plus like the other things I have like scheduled into my day, I'm like, I honestly, like,
you're not an octopus.
I can't even, but I feel bad because that's what I'm there for.
But you're not an octopus. Don't be a spork. Do you remember the spork?
I'm good at everything.
We'll come back to that at just the tip. Don't be a spork, though. Unfair, before we get on. Unmanageable workload. 1,800 samples, 44 at a time. That I'm not going to say anything else.
I'll say a ratio of 1 to 785 students.
Boom.
That's it.
Do we even need to finish the rest of this episode? Now y'all probably like, yeah, dog, just go take a nap.
No, I have colleagues that were like, I'm leaving elementary school because it's too much.
It's too much. Y'all need more than one counselor. Like, this is crazy for that many kids.
We do.
That's
I mean, it would be manageable if I was able to counsel, like if I didn't have other duties, but I mean.
Mine would be manageable if we had more staff, but there is such a literal world shortage of
workers,
of people who can do what I do.
Or people who want to work.
Or people who are licensed, because I don't know if they're having the same shortage in Texas, in Georgia, in, Tennessee, and other places where there's little to no regulation on that aspect. But in Florida, these people having to come up out their pockets to come for me. You better come correct. That's what I tell them at that job. I'm like, listen, somebody just offered me a $10,000 sign-on bonus. Get it together. Just kidding. I don't say that.
Like, go to work, girl.
I don't say that. But I be thinking it, because I'm like, that's why we're so understaffed. We can't find nobody, and the people that we find, we can't keep because they find something better. These people are paying big bucks. Not the people I'm with, but the people as a whole. I'm decent. I'm fine. I'm not complaining.
Unfair treatment. I don't think I get treated unfairly at work.
I do, and I don't understand why. Because the mouth that I have is reactionary. Whoa, get dark. Not with this lipstick. Don't do that.
I know. I notice it, like, depending on if I look at you. No, not that time. Okay.
But you got to take the eyes with it. I don't want to look at you anymore because I don't know what the back of his head doing. And it also got dark. Oh,
it did.
And we're back.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, we digress. Yeah. So unfair treatment. For the last 2 or 3 jobs that I've gone to, for some reason, I've been treated unfairly. I'm finding, I'm trying to find rationale behind it because I'm actually a very pleasant person. And even my coworkers can co-sign to that, and they see the unfair treatment every time that it's happening. They're like, I don't know why this is happening to you. Like, why? You're not rude. You're very professional. You go out of your way to try to make sure the job is done. I just can't understand. To be fair, the people who have treated me unfairly have been probably intimidated because I almost got the supervisor position.
I think that's what it is.
Or a supervisor position, I should say. The one before that, she had black woman syndrome, which we'll talk about on another one. Put a pin in that one. That needs to be an episode. But yeah, I felt for a while that I was being treated unfairly. I feel like the tables are turning now a little bit, but with the previous person that I was under, I for sure was blatantly being treated differently than my counterparts, and it was disgusting. And we got into it many times, many times, to the point where I was like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and finish out, everything I need to do for my license and find a new job. But started working out in my favor. So.
I feel like the workload at my job is, we all do different things, so it's hard to compare it, but I do feel like when extra work is given, it's distributed evenly. I don't think I get the brunt of work. I think it's distributed pretty evenly.
I think because when I started, I didn't have a license, and I was like the catch-all, and I was doing a bunch of stuff that wasn't what I'm doing now. And when I did get my license, my role didn't change clearly. It wasn't a clear cut. So I still had people coming to me for X, Y, and Z. And then they started coming to me because they trusted me. And they were like, well, I know that you're going to get it done.
That's why she needed to be a supervisor. But her credentials won't allow it right now.
Yeah, I need a few more years experience. The supervisor I wanted to apply for, was discontinued, that certification. I was like, that's a thing. Anyway, so now I need more years of experience than I have. Maybe 2 more, I think.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
In due time.
By then, I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to even.
She will, because she's going to still be tired and burnt out.
Yeah. And being a supervisor is even worse. Then I have to manage people on top of being tired and burnt out. And then get yelled at.
Yeah. So I think part of that is because of being an essential worker. It's just nonstop. Like even during a pandemic, when some people had a break, and I'll include myself in that, because even though we were working, we were still home, which may be stressful for some people. Like I couldn't imagine teachers and parents.
Well, you were home and you were taking care of mom.
True.
So you were a parent, essentially.
That's true. So it was very stressful. But yeah, just nonstop working.
Texas, man. Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
Is your phone on mute? Your computer on mute?
I guess.
Sorry, you're getting a phone call. Yeah, so, essential workers that are currently working through this state of change and just dealing with everything that we're going through that's different from normal, what used to be normal, can cause burnout. I was talking with my line sisters the other day, and they were saying they just felt blah. Like they just didn't want to do anything. They didn't want to work. They don't want to go out. They don't want to do anything. And it's just a feeling that you get from being in this situation. Like, even whether you're working or not, it's just,
yeah,
the emotional burnout.
Yeah. Being essential, I never stopped going to work at all. I never got to stay home. I was in a laboratory. Before I got the COVID job, I was working at a pharmaceutical laboratory, and they were trying to, I'm assuming, come up with, they manufacture vaccines. So I'm assuming they were trying to throw their hat into the Pfizer, Moderna, and all that other stuff mix. In the meantime, I never got a break. I never had to stop going. The only thing that changed for me was the traffic, which actually was super helpful. I missed that. But yeah, and then I got the COVID job, and I was working these long, crazy hours, and I'm constantly exposed to not just other people, but I'm constantly exposed to the actual viral RNA for COVID, the swabs, like the raw, nitty gritty of it, which made it really difficult because being caretaker for mama after she had, her situation with her ankle, and, was still healing from the knee and all this other stuff. It's really difficult to kind of be out in the elements and do the job that I do and come home and try not to touch her.
Yeah.
But also help her do things. So I don't know. It was just a mess. But yeah,
now that I'm in school around all those kids, but
yeah,
we're vaccinated, so thank God.
Okay. Yesterday was our 2 week.
And yeah, that's a whole nother story in itself, because whatever. But
yeah, we was laid out from that. I feel like we were supposed to actually record that day that we were laid out.
maybe, and every other day before and after that.
Yeah. I mean, but we had plenty of time to counteract that, and we didn't. But that day, I had nothing planned. I had nothing and I just was like, okay, we're just gonna stay home, lay low, whatever. But I was like drooling. I couldn't even move. I was like,
took a 24-hour nap.
Yeah, I don't even know what happened to that day. But I mean, we made it. But yeah, we're just constantly exposed to. She's constantly exposed to germs. I'm constantly exposed to freaking coronavirus. I'm working a lot. I mean, it fluctuates, but there's times where like I've worked 6 days for the last 2 weeks. And long hours for the last 2 weeks prior. I had been working like 10s and 12s. Mm-hmm. And I was just exhausted. Yeah. I was just like non-functional. So I mean,
my day is not that long. I mean, my day is, I work before care, so I start at 7, I end at 4, but it's still not. Yeah, it's not long, but it's exhausting, because just as exhausted as parents are with their 4 hours with their children after school, I am with them for like 7 hours in the day, and it's a lot of kids and a lot of different personalities. But I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, that's cute. Yeah, I like what I do. I like what I do. I just I'm glad I don't have to be as paranoid about it. My hair is actively exploding.
All right. I said, all right, because you keep touching it.
It's getting in my eye. Sorry. So before that, do you feel burnt out? Do you feel like you're?
At this moment, no, because I'm at the end of like all the anxiety I had. But I definitely can see where I've been burnt out this year.
I don't think I don't feel like I'm just like sitting here like I'm burnt out. Like I don't feel the burnout until I come home from work or I get a weekend to myself and I can't move.
Yeah. And you don't want to. You don't want to do anything. I'm like, I'm off today. I'm just gonna relax and not do anything. I don't want to go out. I want to just stay in my bed.
That's how I feel. I'm just like, I turn into a potato or a burrito. Because I just, I mean, a potato. You're just a potato. You're just a lump of matter. But yeah, I come home from work and I'm just like a battery. I need a battery pack, and then I blink, and then I'm at my job again. And I'm like, how does
Monday?
Yeah, like tomorrow. Anyway, so I just put together a little mini science lesson because that's what I do. Because I'm a nerd. As far as stress and burnout is concerned, how it affects your brain. It enlarges what's called the amygdala, which is a tiny little structure in the middle of your brain. And that's your control center for your emotions. Mm-hmm. So I am actually working on a book that I've been working on for the last few years, but because life is happening every year, it just keeps getting pushed back further and further. But I said that because I wanted to include some information about the amygdala, because I love that little structure. It's the cutest thing. But it controls the mood, and I'm a very temperamental person. So I'm like, and it controls like your anxiety, and it controls like your emotions and stuff like that. And I'm just like, that needs to be a big part of my book, because that's a big part of my life. I digress. So if it enlarges your amygdala, it means that your moodiness is going to probably increase. Excuse me. So it's likely that, you can get a little temperamental when you're burning out also, just like a short fuse, which, welcome to my life. It also ages your brain when you are burning out and when you're under a lot of stress and pressure. And it thins what's called the prefrontal cortex, which is obviously in the front of your brain. The cortex is just those two fat lobes of your brain. And the prefrontal cortex is actually the control center for your cognitive functioning. So your decision-making becomes poorer and poorer. You have a short temper. Your impulsiveness.
I teach my students about flipping their lid at school.
Lord, you got to show them.
No, I don't even remember how to do it. I got to practice it. It's something with the brain hand.
And then you flip your leg.
Yeah, it's when your prefrontal cortex and your amygdala are not communicating properly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fun fact. I knew about the prefrontal cortex part. Anyway.
We say the thinking brain and the feeling brain part of the brain,
but yeah,
break it down for little children.
Yeah. So poor decision making. I always talk about the ability of people, like the age limits, the age restrictions that they put on people for like drinking and smoking and renting a car and stuff like that, because your prefrontal cortex doesn't develop until you're generally past a certain age. And that age is like 25 or something, like really old. And that's why they put age restriction. I mean, it's old for your brain to still be developing, you know, like you would think that it would be developed when you're 4, but
no,
not so much. So teenagers and like 21-year-olds, like college students and stuff like that, they're all impulsive because they're not fully matured. They're not fully developed. And the same can happen when your freaking crap is thinning. Then you just become like this crazy person. Oh no. Did that just cut us off?
I don't think so.
Why are you calling?
I don't know. We're still here.
Are we still recording? Yep. Okay.
Ignore that.
Well, our dad is stalking us right now because he wants food.
I text him. Anyway.
Got mouths to feed. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second, because that's also part of burnout.
I'm done being a parent to my parents.
I don't have kids for this reason. Send help. Anyway. Attention and concentration, part of your prefrontal cortex. You start like, spacing out, getting brain fog. Your memory starts being affected. Like all that stuff is can be regulated by that part of your brain. And if it's thinning, your junk is running out. You need to figure that out. You need to counteract that. Stress can lead to a lot of mental health disorders, obviously, anxiety, high blood pressure, heart attack, stroke, arrhythmia, which is just like irregular heartbeat, musculoskeletal tension and stiffness in your neck. You wake up and you be like, well, I can't move.
Oh my God, my neck was
You got
stiff
TMJ. I had to massage this girl every night for like a week.
And then I went to get a massage and I was like, I need another one next week because it still was hurting. Yeah, that was like a couple weeks ago. So yeah.
And you don't realize it. You don't even associate it with stress, but you're so tense all the time. Like I have this nasty habit of grinding my teeth in my sleep. My dentist was like, you need a mouth guard because you're not going to have any teeth in your head after a while, because I'm just constantly all night like, so grind mode. I'm on grind mode. Yeah. So I mean, just like, and wake up and I just before we started recording this, I did something and my mouth popped. And it was like, sorry, my TMJ's acting up. And it sounds really weird, but anyway, all of that, prolonged cortisol in your system. Cortisol is just like a stress hormone, basically. Can lead to health issues, and that just means that you're constantly in fight or flight. It's like your adrenaline. It's what controls like your adrenaline pumping through your body when you're in fight or flight mode. And if you're constantly releasing cortisol long term, you have all types of issues. Your gut becomes inflamed, then it gives way to like all types of like different stuff like headaches and brain fog and like all this like weird stuff. So like, it weakens your immune system too. So we don't need that in COVID. Like really, I mean, unless you're vaccinated, but seriously, it's just not a good look. Like there's so much that can go wrong. I was reading on Instagram these memes, or not memes, but I guess they were like pictures of tweets, and it was talking about how this one person was like, one of my best friends just died this morning from stress. Had a stroke like in her 30s and just died because she was so stressed out.
Yeah,
like
stress can kill you. They always say stress can kill you.
And that's the scariest part, because it's like I don't even feel like I'm stressed out sometimes. And until like how I said before, I come home and then I'm like,
Yeah.
Or like I've had a pounding headache for like a week.
That is what's scary about it, is that sometimes you don't realize how stressed you are.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
So how do you know when you're getting to that point of burnout? Like, what are some of the signs?
Well, some of my signs, I get really irritable and I get moody for sure.
I probably get emotional, cry for no reason.
I cry, but I also do a lot of like this. A lot of this.
I can see myself getting irritable.
First of all, a lot of this. Abusing food and alcohol could be a sign. If you constantly want to go, let's go have a drink.
Have wine every night.
Yeah. I like messed up and bought like 8 bottles of wine the other day. I had to carry them out in a case. I was like, well, that's embarrassing.
Losing interest in your day, period, but getting up in the mornings, not wanting to do anything, getting started with the day.
Yeah, hating Mondays is a good start. It's like, it's Monday. I have to go to work again.
I know. That's such a bad...
I have to get out of the habit. People, first of all, I hate when people say, how are you? That bothers me.
Because it automatically replies, good, I'm fine.
Yeah. Hey, I'm great. How are you? It's like, I've stopped answering falsely. If I'm not having a good day, I'm like, today sucks, but I'm here. So I have to get into the habit of, because every time somebody asks me, I notice that I'm always like, I'm here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, I need to be more than just here.
Because are you really here?
There's more to life.
I'm not really here.
I'm not really here. And there's more to life than being just physically in a building.
So your sleep habits can be affected, and you can have physical issues like she was describing with headaches, irritable bowel syndrome, like your gut issues, brain fog, being tired, alopecia, all types of foolishness.
Yeah, I tend to wake up in the middle of the night, and it's really annoying. But now that I've started working out more, my sleep quality has improved better, and so has my mental health. So that was really important for me to get back into the gym, even though I'm still inconsistent. But that's because of work. Anyway.
So how to combat it? Perfect segue. Because you have to take care of yourself.
Do less.
And even when you feel like you don't have time, you have to take care of yourself. You have to make time to take care of yourself. So, I always say, people are like, oh, I don't have time to do blah, blah, blah. Like my coworkers, I'll be like, you have to make sure that you take care of yourself, especially teachers. Like, I'm like, you have to take time off, or, even not time off, but sometime after school or something, do something for you. I don't have time to do that because, well, I'm like, you probably be scrolling through Instagram for a solid 30 is being generous, minutes. You have time. So you have to make time for yourself, because Instagram ain't healthy either.
Your drive to work.
I'm sure the people you follow aren't that great.
Yeah, seriously. And they're all lying. Your drive to work, that's usually when I have some like quiet meditation time, if I'm going to have it. One of my pastimes that makes me happy is I listen to new music. I find new artists to listen to. Work out.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm back in the gym, all of my systems are regulating. My bowels, my dang sleep pattern, my appetite.
Yeah, the gym got me going again.
My mental health. Everything revolves around physical activity for me. And I didn't know that until my 30s. Anyway. So yeah, do less also. Just like generally do less. Stop going above and beyond. Just kidding. Don't listen to that. But also
doing too much.
If you're doing that much, and it's also, especially if it's being taken for granted, because that can wear you down if it's not being appreciated properly, do less.
Yeah.
That's starting to become my philosophy. I mean, it depends on who I'm doing it for. Because old management, I was like, I think I'm done here. Oh, my you know what? My day is ending at 4:30. Bye. Instead of being like, we still have some samples to run. Nope, night shift can handle it. Good night.
And I work from home a lot too, so I have to manage that time. Like, I'm like, even if I work from home, so I don't have to do so much during the week, which it's a never ending cycle. So I don't know.
Yeah, she's constantly working. I can't even understand this.
It's just a lot of stuff to do. I mean,
I come home and
I 3 more weeks.
Try the hardest that I can to start writing, to like write for my book or for my blog. I haven't uploaded anything for my blog in
6 weeks
at minimum. And yeah, you know what else you can do? Cuddle.
Yes, cuddles.
I have a blog about that conveniently. Shameless plug, soflowmo.me. A blog about how physical touch is actually, beneficial to your mental health. Mm-hmm. And it just like releases all these happy hormones. And the blog was actually about COVID because we couldn't cuddle mm-hmm. people, or we shouldn't have cuddle people that we didn't live with.
Meanwhile, we're the only ones not cuddling.
Not cuddling. And that's why I wrote that, because I was like, I miss people. I miss you, people.
And we were looking up different ways that you can combat it. And one of the things that we found was making a power statement and a to-do list. Checking off to-do lists is so satisfying. Even if it's something that you want to do.
I have a to-do list on this freaking, this document. This Google Drive document. So when you get a moment, check that out.
I will. And when you make time for your self-care, try to make it something that's routine. Because we all have, me, her, my mom have like massages every month. We have it not scheduled, but we pay for them every month.
Yeah, that.
And at one point, I remember I was going every single month. Like, I would go get my massage and then schedule my next month appointment. But when COVID happened, I kind of got backed up, which is good because now I get 2 hours. But that's another story. But
I'm about to throw some hours at you.
So she hasn't been using her hours, but I would tell her, like, literally I would be dying. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I don't know what's wrong with me, blah, blah, blah. And then it'll be like, oh, I have a massage tomorrow. And it's just automatically in my schedule. So that definitely helps, especially if it's like something that's routine that you can plan on. I also do like at least 10 minutes of like meditation and mindfulness as soon as I wake up in the morning.
Yeah, she's really good about that.
Helps me. And you need to do it too, because I bought you the app. But yeah, it helps me.
I usually do it when I'm like stressed out or anxious or something, which typically is in the middle of the night when I wake up and just randomly.
But you should practice it not only when you're stressed, but like as a daily habit, because it gets you into, we'll talk about that offline. But I'm trying to get her into mindfulness, because even though it obviously works when it wants to for me, it does. I do feel like, even like sometimes I learn from it, just like, like stuff about the brain, like mm-hmm. things that I don't study typically that I learn from just like a quick mindfulness lesson. Like it just, I don't know. Yeah. It's helpful. And now that it's a habit, even when it's one that I'm like, this really probably doesn't apply to me, but I still listen to it because it's like just a habit every morning. So
that's cute.
Yep.
Anyway, what is the tip? Just give us the tip.
Just the tip is, like I told one of my coworkers, you need to take your time off and you need to use your days, because when you die, if you die,
them days go to waste.
You will be replaced. No hesitation.
Yeah, seriously. I legit, my last company I worked for, while I worked there was probably about 4 people that died. And there wasn't, I know, that's a lot, right?
That is a lot.
I'm glad I got out of there, actually. But no, and we had a pretty big company, so it was like 100-something employees. So maybe that could also be, I don't know, it's a lot of people dying. Anyway, and that was just in my time there. Anyway, one of them I was close to, and I got actually really upset because they didn't even send around an email saying this happened. They didn't acknowledge. They didn't make any kind of announcement. They didn't even like make an announcement for people to go to her services. Everybody, it's a business, but these people that are working for you are human beings, and you could at least acknowledge when one of them die. And then so like that, and then seeing, coming through, because I get emails from Indeed, seeing her position come through on my emails was like really upsetting, because I was like, really? Like, you ain't even tell nobody.
But I mean, if you think about it from the business perspective, like they can't wait for time to pass to refill those positions.
I mean, and that's
they have
fair.
to keep moving.
That's fair. I just wanted some sort of acknowledgement that she even worked for you.
This is why it's important for you to take care of yourself.
You don't even like...
Because you care about yourself the most. Or you should. If you don't, you should.
Yeah.
And you need to take care of yourself.
Like, if I'm an owner of a company, I'm going to send out an email and say, very sorry to inform anyone who doesn't already know the passing of so-and-so. Contact this person if you're interested in sending flowers or arrangements and this, that, and the other. We're really sorry to see you go. I hope everybody, thoughts and prayers with everybody.
So when I think about that, like when I think about things that happen, not necessarily like a coworker that passed, but like somebody close to them, it's usually done on a smaller scale. Like maybe like a supervisor of that unit would send out something, or a close friend. That.
I don't know. I feel like if I'm running the company, I feel like that would be humane of me to do. But my priorities are different than other people's.
The problem is the people running the company don't know the people that are on the floor. So
well, they know they died. You don't have 4 of your employees die in less than 2 years, and you don't know nothing. Somebody somewhere in HR should be like, oh, we're down this employee because they died. So, do you want to send arrangements? Can you send arrangements? Can you at least send...
Maybe they did. I don't know.
I don't think they did, because some of the people that were helping coordinate the services, which were some of her coworkers, she was good friends with them. I heard nothing about any kind of acknowledgement from them. From upper management. It's irrelevant. Take your vacation days, sis.
Yeah.
Because seriously, I'm in this position now where there's 2 people running samples, me and one other person, and she's getting ready to go on like a short vacation, but she feels so bad. And I'm like, listen, I know you feel bad, because when I had to take a week off from my mom, I felt bad too. But I was like, you got a life outside of here. So whatever doesn't get done is not anybody's fault, but, not necessarily even management's, because they're trying to find people. But I mean, you can't expect to just turn your life into somebody else's business.
Right.
Because you feel bad. No, go live your life. If I don't worry about me, I'll make it. And if I don't make it, then these samples ain't going out. Mm-hmm. And we don't care. Because guess what? They can't fire us.
It's okay.
we can just do the best we can. And that's it.
So take time for yourself. Make sure you take time for yourself.
Definitely prioritize yourself. Nobody else will.
That's true.
Everybody else ain't prioritizing me specifically. Maybe, I don't know how y'all life is, but I'm all I got.
And that's that on that. So
period.
So we are officially back.
Yeah. And we will be batching.
Yeah.
Lesson learned.
Because we're back. So we will be consistently doing our Thursdays again. So stay tuned.
Do you want to call this season 3, or are we just not even doing that anymore?
Doesn't even matter.
No, doesn't matter.
Season 2, I think, only had like not that many episodes, but I mean, it's whatever.
Yeah.
So we are back. So thank you guys for understanding and bearing with us, assuming that you do understand and are bearing with us.
And if you're just joining us, welcome.
Yeah, this is your first episode.
Go back and watch the rest of them. We're a hoot. Yeah. All right. Well, that was fun. We'll see y'all next time.
We burnt out. We're done.
Y'all remember, and when we first started video recording these, we was like, we ain't gonna get done up and blah, blah, blah. And like, this is exhausting for me again. It was because I tried to do something.
Yeah, so catch you on our next episode in t-shirt.
Literally, what was that?
My nail.
Oh. Okay, bye.
Bye.